Hey guys, it's Trill again, and today I want to talk about really tiny, sometimes even pixel small gaps between objects in CSGO that give you an unfair advantage when you stand close to them. I feel like some of these are pretty much common knowledge and have a right to exist, but in order for this video to be as complete as possible, I still wanted to include them. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Mirage, for example, is a map where you will find a bunch of these tiny gaps that can give the player standing close to the object an advantage over the enemy further away in distance. The best example would be this tiny gap in the smaller firebox that allows you to spot an enemy coming up connector or crossing from jungle to stairs. I feel like things like these are somewhat overpowered and unfair sometimes, because in a 1v1 situation this could give you such a big advantage because you'll be able to spot the enemy while standing safely behind this big crate, whereas the enemy on the other side does not have the slightest chance to spot you. Same thing for the spot right here that I discovered by accident in one of my latest matchmakings and got a kill like this. Again, there's this tiny gap that you can abuse to spot an enemy walking close to ticket box, whereas the enemy on the other side does not have the chance to spot you through a gap like that. I hope I'm not the only one that feels like spots like these should be worked on by Valve, but I at least wanted to spread some awareness about these spots that I know of. Then there's also the small triangle shaped gap on A side that you could use to spot terrorists walking out of A slope, while you on the other hand are more or less completely hidden behind this crate, and it's very unlikely that anyone is going to spot the tiny bit of your model sticking out on top. On Mirage B side you can do this 2-man tower boost, which will allow you to spot through a tiny gap on top of these crates towards short B. I feel like this is a pretty cool spot to hold from and also quite creative, but at the same time I think that there's no chance in hell anyone coming up catwalk will ever spot you up there before he gets a chance to shoot back at you, as you are basically camouflaged in all these objects up there. Also, as we're on this topic speaking about unfair advantages, do you think spots like these should exist, where a height difference between objects gives a player on one side a huge advantage like this over the other player? Moving on to cobblestone, there's a spot that I play every now and then that I would also consider a bit unbalanced. When you plant the bomb right here, there's this small gap in the wall that you could use to spot and kill an enemy trying to retake from balcony. If done right, you could spot the enemy's head from there, whereas he does not really have a chance to spot you behind this wall, as the gap is too small from that distance to spot anything behind it. Then there's also the sick boost on top of A side that you can do to spot behind wood through a gap up here. I don't really consider this spot to be incredibly unfair, but I guess not many people know about it, and I think it's pretty cool to see this from the enemy's perspective as well. Now some of you may think that spotting through these leaves of these plants on cobblestone will also give you an unfair advantage, as your model should be covered by this plant. But please don't ever play this spot, because the plant will become invisible at a certain distance and anyone coming out B platform will just see you standing in the open back there. I guess the most well-known gaps like these are the ones on DE dust too. My favorite gap is this one towards short A, that is very strong if you are holding it with an AWP. For the enemy coming up short, it's very hard to spot you behind this crate, and if he does, it's only gonna be your backpack most of the times, which is not even part of your hitbox, so I also feel like this spot is a bit unbalanced. If you are trying to save a gun in CT spawn, you can spot through the lower half of this metal crate to see if anyone is trying to push you. Whereas it's very easy to spot an enemy from this side of the crate, it is incredibly hard to even make out the tiniest thing when looking from the other side. Also in CT spawn you can stand on top of this box, which people sometimes use to defend a B-split on dust 2. If you crouch down, there's also a very small gap that you can spot through that might just give you a kill. Once again, I highly doubt that any enemy will ever spot you through this gap before he gets a chance to shoot back at you. You should also be aware of the fact that standing all the way in this corner in an afterplant situation can be very risky, because an enemy coming into B from door will be able to spot you standing there. Don't think that you are covered by the crates next to you, as there's gonna be a big gap that the counter-terrorists will be able to spot through. And last but not least, also by accident, I found this very tiny pixel small gap between the green metal crates on bomb side A of Overpass that you can really abuse if you are standing there with an AWP. You have a pretty good chance to get a kill from there if the enemies slowly make their way into the bomb site, and you could even kill the terrorist as he is planning. Once again, there's no chance anyone is ever gonna spot you from the other side of this crate, making the spot very unfair and unbalanced in my opinion. But that is going to conclude all spots like these that I could think of. What do you think about this topic, and be sure to leave a comment if you know any other spots like these on the competitive maps. Hope you enjoyed this video, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Ich höre wieder nichts, Alter.
Ja, ich höre auch nichts. Yo. I'm getting swatted, mate. I'm being swatted. I'm being swatted.
Dann kommt.